Hello all and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chase and thank you for joining me today on Boss Ross Videos. So it's 2024 and you're thinking about playing Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3 for the first time ever, or you're wanting to replay it again for nostalgic purposes, but you don't want to play it the 2002 rustic version that it came out in, which is beautiful in its own sense, yes. However, with computers nowadays and all the capabilities, why not bump it up a little bit? Play it on the highest resolution, highest render, make shadows, water looks nice, as well as you can download quality of life ones. For example, like being able to just click sneak and like actually stay sneaked, opposed to having to hold it down for an hour, and little things like that. Nothing that breaks the game, just makes the quality of life and your game experience better and visually beautiful. How do I do that? Step one is going to be purchasing the game. Doesn't matter where you do it. All of mine are bought from Steam, so that's what I'm going to be referencing today. But if you bought it off a website or if you bought it other means, it doesn't matter. The principle will remain. Step two is picking how do you want to mod it. For my case in particular, for Morrowind, I modded physically dropping the mods in the game file itself, which I'll show you how to do. However, that's not the most recommended method for other games. For example, like Oblivion, as well as Stardew Valley and a bunch of other ones like Skyrim and all those, you're going to want a mod loader or a mod manager. I use Vortex for a lot of that, which I'll get into a little later. Vortex is just a nice mod loader that's provided by Nexus, which is the website that you're going to be getting all your mods from that I'm going to recommend. And all that Vortex does is you take all these mods, you throw it in there, it puts them all in order for you. It tells you like, hey, these aren't compatible, you need to get rid of one or the other, etc., etc. Stuff that wouldn't happen if you just drop them in the game file itself. But more on that in just a little bit. But that's the overview. You have options to drop it in the game file, use like a mod loader like Vortex, or the most popular one for Morrowind would be OpenMW, which I did try using. However, I hit a little bit of issues here and there. But there's plenty of support online if you want to do that. Just watch videos on that one. Today's video though, I'm going to be going how to do it just in the game file itself, which won't take you more than 20 minutes max, and then you'll be playing Morrowind 4K Ultra HD, beautiful. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I told you need to purchase the game. For my case in particular, because I'm going to be dropping it straight into the game files, you need to find where your local file is. And if you just save it by default, it's going to save it on your main drive in your programs file, which is fine if you have administrative access. This is my computer, and so I have administrative access, so I just leave it in there. However, if you don't, make sure you save it somewhere else that you can get into the local drive folder and plug and play. If you're using Steam, it's an easy way to get there is just open up Steam, go to your library, find the game, right click it, manage, and then browse local files. That's the easiest way. And these are all the files that when you actually launch Morrowind or the game that you're doing, these are the files that are referencing it for textures, graphics, whatever the case may be. Just as long as you can get to the local files is all I'm getting at. So find the local files of your game. Next, I'm going to recommend that you make a Nexus account. Nexus, it's completely free. Nexus Mods. I am not a sponsor by any means. It will tell you you can do the premium membership. I don't, and you can still download all the mods perfectly fine. However, make a Nexus account. Super easy, super painless, and you'll be able to get all the best mods. This is where Skyrim mods come from, Baldur's Gate, any of the biggest games. So, once you've made your account and you log in, this is what your main screen is going to look like. Up here, you have all these like most popular games. However, in the search bar, we're going to search instead of mods, games themselves, and type in Morrowind, or whatever game that you want to mod. Here he is, Morrowind. Once opened, this will show you the most popular ones, or like the hot ones, whatever the case may be. I'm going to click on popular all time. I'm just going to open this up at the bottom, view all, or view more. Alright, so now I'm looking at all-time, most popular all-time mods, most downloads. You can see 1.7 million downloads, 1.3 million, and in descending order here. And so these are going to be some of the big ones that we're going to download. So what does that look like? It's completely free and it's trustworthy. So Morrowind code patch. What is that? Also, here you go is the option to download it with Vortex if you do get Vortex. As well as you have to catch make sure you're looking out because some of these will like specify not OpenMW, which is the other most popular mod loader for Morrowind. If you're going to use OpenMW, you're going to use separate mods for that. That's why I got into complications because I like using Nexus. That's why I'm not personally using OpenMW. However, there's a lot of people that do love it, so to each their own. But nonetheless, once you made your account, you find the mods that you want. I'm going to recommend, you can just search this as well, Morrowind code patch. What this does is allows you to change like little mechanics of the game. And if you don't want to do anything yourself, you can just hit apply chosen patches and they'll do like the default ones for you, which is just like game enhancing stuff that does not break anything. So what you're going to want to do is, instead of Vortex, I'm going to recommend doing Morrowind just in the game files themselves. So go to files. You have main files, optional files. You can do this is where it's going to say mod manager download, but we're not going to be doing a mod manager. We're just going to do the manual download. Manually download it. This is where like the premium one is going to pop up. This is where the premium one's going to pop up. It's going to say, oh, max speed, this, that. You don't need it. If you have the money, like go ahead, but it's completely free and it's not much slower. Hit slow download. It's going to start downloading. For me, because I'm using Windows, they'll pop up here in the top right. It's all done. You download it. For me, because I'm on Windows, I open up my file explorer. I can go to the downloads folder and it brings me right here as well. You can open it from the like actual web browser. It doesn't matter what you're doing. However, just open it up and you're going to see this whole patch stuff. All that we're going to do is open up our game file folder. So Morrowind, manage, browse local files. The game files here. And we're going to put this whole thing, drag it over and put it in there. I already have it in there, so I'm not going to. However, just throw it in there and you can actually see it. If I go to Morrowind code patch, so he's right here. That's what it'll look like once you get it up. Once it's in there, it's going to say loading, loading. Okay, sounds good. Once it's in there, you can open it up. And then you actually have the options to go through and like customize everything fully like that you want. Or you can just hit apply chosen patches and it'll do it all for you. This code patch one is just, it patches a lot of like visual things, glitches, pickpocket overhaul, toggle sneak, so that way you can just like stay snuck as opposed to like holding it down. It's like little quality of life ones. However, just go with like the default one, hit apply. It's gonna say it's all done and now you can exit out. Applying 4 GB patch, analyzing Morrowind XL, patch successful. So once you've done this, your quality of life is going to go up quite a bit. Go through and read it, but nothing here is game breaking. The combat is still like chance based. Everything is still like the same. It just makes things less buggy. There's a lot of like AI fixes, a lot of like different like fixes. So definitely a big one to get. So Morrowind code patch. Second one that you're going to want is go back to Nexus. So we downloaded Morrowind code patch. Next is going to be this MGE XE, which is a Morrowind graphics extender. This is the one that's going to truly make the game beautiful and do a lot of nice things with it. Once again, this is not usable with OpenMW because I'm using Nexus. Some of these are, however, like I said, they have their own means of downloading that stuff. So same thing, open this up, go to files, manual download. That's the same thing. It's going to say, make sure you have these. These are the 2 DLCs, and as long as you've bought in the game from like Steam or like any other means, it's going to come with the DLCs. It's been around for quite a while, so it's also telling you that the prerequisite for this to work is Morrowind code patch, which we just downloaded, so no worries there. Hit download. Slow speed because we're not paying for premium. It's going to load up in the corner. Also, this is pretty safe. It's going to tell you right here. Scan manually verified files. It'll tell you that it's safe. I've had no issues using anything from Nexus so far. So just make sure you're cautious. So now it's done. Once again, I'm going to go into my programs files, open these both back up. This is the game files on my right. The game files on my left, downloads on my right. So here's MGX. So this is just the graphics installer. Take this, drag it over to the game files. And you just don't drop it in any of the folders. Just drop it down here in the actual files below. It's going to take a little bit to load. Once it's done though, we'll look for it. And I'm pretty sure that's it right there. Yep, MGX. So once you open this up, this is really where you're gonna get into like the RAM or like your like computer heavy stuff. So you're gonna have graphics, distant LAN, in-game configuration instructions. You can follow the instructions here. However, set your resolutions, as well as this is the big one here, is the menu UI scaling. This is what allows you to actually be able to like read like the little dialogue boxes in the game. This will increase it and do a lot of like make it so it's a lot easier on the eyes, because I don't have the best eyes, so it's quite hard on me. So increase that, go through, play with this. You can come in here to the game files and adjust it as much as you want. Big one too. So for distant LANs, I have the option to modify this because I've already done it, but you can generate distant LANs, and this will ask you like parameters that you want to set based off your computer strengths. And so like it'll tell you like your computer doesn't meet the requirements or like whatever the case may be, but generate it, and this is where it's going to actually like do a lot of like reflections in the water or like whatever the case may be, make the game more beautiful. I have it on the max settings. However, just follow the instructions and then set things as high as you can within reason. So for example, like can I set this on 8? Yep. 16, set things up, VSync off, windowed mode, borderless, 1920 by 1440, screen resolution. You can adjust a lot of this stuff. Distant LANs I already covered, brightness. It's gonna have you generate this. Once you click this button, to take you through the whole wizard, and it'll ask you like, what do you want? Like, how strong is your computer, pretty much. In game, that's the biggest stuff, is really this distant LAN and graphics. But once you're done, it auto saves for you. Close out, and now that's done. Now getting into the more specific ones, go back to Nexus, go back. Once in, I am gonna recommend that you get better dialogue font. So this makes it a lot easier to read. So we're not only increasing the dialogue size with MGE XE, however, we're also gonna be doing better dialogue font. So you're gonna open up this one again, download it, manual download, slow download. It's going, and you can see here what exactly it does. So the top one is like legacy. On the bottom, it makes it a lot clearer and adds more depth to it. So it's gonna be an easy one. So go back to your downloads. So this one's a fonts one. So if I go into my data files, I have a fonts one right here. So what you're gonna wanna do, take this in. So once again, just to reiterate, this is just my like default game file folder. So as soon as I open up the game file folder, this is what it looks like. This has all the biggest ones, like my saves, my data files, and then a whole bunch of stuff that the game references whenever you fire up the game. For the more like more minute things, like the graphics, like the textures, fonts, stuff like that, you're gonna want to go into the data files, and then from here, this is where they all are. So music, fonts, textures, shaders, etc., etc. So because this is a fonts folder, I don't want to just drop it in this front one. I want to actually drop it where the other fonts folder is. I'm not going to drop it in the fonts folder, just going to drop it down here. That'll look like this. So you can see it says copy, copy, copy. I don't want to copy it. I want to put it down here to the data files. I don't want to copy it to one of these actual folders. Copy it to the files. When you do that, it's going to load and load, load, and say, hey, do you want to replace this? Hit yes. Why do you want to replace it? Because I want to take these like new font styles and I want to replace the old ones, so that way the game only references the new ones. Hopefully that makes sense. But once you do that, these font ones will be the crisp new ones. And that's how that looks. That's how we're going to be doing the next one for textures, as well as shaders, etc., etc. So now that the game is patched nice, all the like bugs and everything is done, it looks aesthetically pleasing starting off now. The font's better, so that's 3 big ones to make this game a lot better. And the next one that we're going to be doing is a texture one specifically. So, MET, Morrowind Enhanced Textures. This one is going to be doing a whole lot of, this is like a cursed image, I'm sorry, but that's what the original looks like. Blurry, nice. Blurry, as nice as that gets. I mean, I know that's still scary kind of, but nonetheless, blurry, nice. So that's what we're doing with this mod. So once again, files. You have main files, not the optional. We're not using a manager. Download, slow download, starts in 5 seconds, etc., etc. You know the drill so far. The link for all these as well will be in the description. This one's a bit bigger. This one's 2.4 gigabytes. So this one's pretty massive, but it terraforms quite a bit of the game into much nicer. This is the one that really just look at the face difference. I mean, that's scary. I mean, arguably that one's scarier, this new one, because it's more in detail. However, that's how big of a difference that this mod is going to make. It's going to work very smoothly with the enhancer. But yes. So, nonetheless, this one's going to take quite a bit. But it's going to be the exact same principle, where you open it up. Once it gets done. When you open up this one, it's going to be a textures one. So you're going to want to drop it in the same file that we did the fonts in. So not the main game files, but the data files within the game. Just drop it down here, not in the folders. Drop it down here. And then because there's already a textures folder, it's going to say, do you want to replace the old textures with the new ones? And you're going to hit yes. If it didn't pop up with it, then maybe it did it automatically. However, just make sure you hit yes on that. And then what that does is it's going to replace all the old textures with the new ones. So that way your game can reference these instead of the old ones. And that's really all you need to do. I mean, you're more than welcome. That's what I'm using right now. However, this is your game. So, I mean, go through and look at the other mods. Just make sure they're compatible and make sure you follow the same principle. But I'd say if you just fire up the game right now with all those in there, you're going to have a good time. The only other one I did was a facelift one, which made people's faces look nicer. I wouldn't recommend, there's one for like a face overhaul, but I think it's pretty cursed. It makes people look kind of scary, this one. I don't like this. I didn't do it because they look scary to me. Like, that's... You're going further and further from like the authentic Morrowind experience. All I'm doing when I'm doing these mods, I'm inputting, is just enhancing what the game already had. Like, this is like deviating to a degree, because like that's not what the game was. However, if you like that, do it. So once you've downloaded those mods, if you did everything correctly in the sense of making sure you put the MGE XE one in the main file, as well as the code patcher, you've gone through and you've actually clicked on them to like modify it. So like, once again, the MGE, go through and like mess around with this, increase things to the max you can, distant lands, do the wizard here, so that way it generates the mod for you, and then it saves automatically. Weather settings, you have all the stuff here. Next, do the code patcher, which is right below it. I would just leave things as they are. You are welcome, of course, to go through and personalize it, but just the default one is perfect. And so hit apply chose patches. It's going to do it for you. Exit out. So those two are in there, and then the other ones are automatic. So because you replaced the files. So you replaced the textures, and then you replaced the fonts. So good to go. Now the only thing left to do is just fire up Morrowind and make sure it runs. If you goofed up somewhere, then you might need to uninstall it and reinstall it, the whole like Morrowind as a whole, if you goofed up the game files, but that's as easy as it is. You didn't break anything. So play. It's gonna say loading MGE. And then because I did like the bigger interface, that's why this is much larger. If this was default, it would only be the size of like the creds and exit. Like that's how like the whole menu is. It's super tiny. So load it up. And you can see.
How does the day greet you, friend?
Believe it or not, this is like game breaking in the sense of like graphical compared to like the default vanilla game.
How may I help you, Noel?
If you do like a before and after, this is pretty nice. So, but that should be it. So with that being said, hopefully you were able to take something away from this. And I hope you enjoy. If you want to see me play this game, I'm going to be posting them in probably like 30-minute intervals, but I'm going to be playing this game from start to finish, trying to 100% the game. And this is the first time I've ever played Morrowind. I've played the Oblivion, Skyrim, all the Fallouts. So I love Bethesda games, and I'm going to give Morrowind a chance here. So if you want to see that, stay tuned. That's on my YouTube channel. If you took something away from this, make sure to like, subscribe. If not, I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching.